While the Sharks did show improvement last season, there were three key areas of regression.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, proudly a part of the Locked On Network, where we cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do, just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch this on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be looking at three key areas where the San Jose Sharks regressed this season, looking at the penalty kill, the power play, and goaltending, and then try to determine one, what was the cause, and two, how do you fix it as the San Jose Sharks hope to enter a new phase next year. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So yesterday we discussed three big improvements, right? We talked about the offense, we talked about the defense, and we talked about just being a more competitive team, right? And how the Sharks are hopefully going to be entering into their fun, frisky phase next season, right? So this episode's a little bit more of a downer as we look at the three areas where the Sharks just got worse. And we're going to start with the penalty kill this, unfortunately. So the penalty kill this year just at times was downright awful to look at. So we're going to kind of dig into the numbers of it, try to determine the cause, and then the path to potentially fixing it. So let's start by looking at the penalty kills numbers. So 2023 to 2024, the Sharks had 252 penalty kill opportunities. This last season, in the 24-25, 256. So not that much of a difference. It was four more. But look at how they ranked. The 23-24, the Sharks were the 21st most penalized team. Last season, they were the 31st. So they were near the top end of the league when it came to giving up, like taking penalties. They're just stop taking penalties, guys. They gave up 62 goals 2 years ago. Last season, they gave up 66. So they gave up four more goals despite only giving up four more penalty kill opportunities. And then they went from 75.4 to 74.2%. Both of those ranked 28th in the NHL. One positive thing, they did score more shorthanded goals, scoring 5 compared to 3. If you look at kind of the shots and shot attempts and where it's coming from, the 23-24 season, a lot of the shot attempts were coming right in front of the net. And in 404, the expected goals and stuff are pretty close between the two. Between the 2023-2024 season and this last season, you saw more shots coming from the faceoff circles, and the Sharks giving up just more shots from front of the faceoff. So a slight improvement there, where it's just not all parked in front of the net. But just something to kind of keep an eye on as this Sharks, team continues to kind of go through this rebuilding through with new system tweaks, et cetera, et cetera. So what was the main cause for this? And there's a couple things that I would point to is why I think the penalty kill regressed. One, let's start with the personnel, right? And because of the Sharks and their going through this rebuild, right, and trading off a bunch of players at the trade deadline, they lost a lot of key pieces as part of the skaters when it came to came to their penalty kill. So among the forwards, guys who, your kind of top 10 penalty kill minute eaters among forwards: Barclay Goodrow, Luke Cunnin, Alex Wenberg, Mikael Granlund, William Eklund, Ty Delanger, Colin Graff, Nico Sturm, Celebrini, and Gregor. Cunnin and Granlund, who were two of your top 4 penalty killers, got traded, right? Nico Sturm, who also played a lot on the penalty kill, but was out missed some time with injuries, also got traded. Defensively, Ferraro, Cody Ceci, Jake Wallman, Jan Ruda. Oops, I had the wrong scratch there. Henry Thrun, Shakir Mukhamadullin. Ceci and Wallman both got traded. Big penalty kill minutes there. I think the personnel who you have out there, I think, is a big reason for it. And I think the Sharks need to look to be younger, faster, more aggressive on the penalty kill. So the hope is you have some in-house options, right? Colin Graff, who looked good on the penalty kill last season. You have William Macklin, who's a good penalty killer as well. You hope that guys like that continue. Alex Wenberg, who has been a solid penalty killer in his career, but the Sharks just need more guys who have a little bit more explosiveness in their penalty kill and can kind of get from, especially kind of attacking in their own zone there. So that way it's not just a diamond rotating with the puck. Like getting out, I think, is a combination of scheme and personnel there. The other big factor was the goaltending. Prior to Mackenzie Blackwood getting traded, so he got traded, December 8th or 9th or whatever it was, pre-Blackwood's trade, the Sharks had the 10th best penalty kill in the NHL at 80.8%. Post-Blackwood, the Sharks' penalty kill fell to 70.1, dead last in the NHL during that time span. So, having a goaltender who can hopefully help cover up and make the rest of the team look good, I think would go a long way for the Sharks. And the hope is, right, you have one in-house ready to go with Askarov. And we're going to talk more goaltending here at the end, but you really saw with Blackwood, who played out of his mind to start this season, right? And again, we're going to talk more goalies here. You saw Blackwood really play out of his mind, and I think keep the penalty kill afloat despite some of their issues. So the hope is when Mike Greer goes out, right, he gets a backup for Askarov, getting a goalie who can, again, kind of raise the tide, raise all boats, whatever phrase, however the phrase goes, but just kind of help cover for some of the mistakes that may happen, because mistakes are going to happen on the penalty kill, right? That's just how it is. So I do think it's going to be a combination of things to try to fix this. I think one, personnel, and I would like to see the Sharks kind of skew a little bit younger, right? You hope, again, Graff, Eklund, maybe starting to see Macklin, Celebrini earn a little bit more time on the penalty kill, because, again, I think he's got opportunities to be a very excellent penalty killer. You like whatever forwards they go out and acquire this off season. And again, I still think like a good portion of those guys will probably be hopefully middle 6 type of forwards, guys who can maybe play up, guys who can play like on the third line, guys who can kill penalties and do it aggressively. So I hope there's a little bit of a scheme tweak, maybe with the Sharks having a little bit kind of older guys typically on the PK. They had to maybe not be as aggressive. So getting some guys with some foot speed that can be more aggressive in attack. And then also knowing, like, if they're going to be aggressive in attack, having a goalie who's kind of got their back, right? And maybe that also went into the Sharks' inability to be aggressive, is that they didn't trust the goaltending. So I think that's a combination of the three things here of between scheme, between personnel, and between goaltending. I think there was a combination of the three things. So I think a lot of it is just effort and having the right people in the right place. So I do have hope for the PK next season, and we'll see what happens over the summer. But I do have hope for the PK to improve next year with better talent around them. So, but yeah, you can't, like, most of the good teams, right? Having a strong PK, and it's always kind of been one of the staples of the Sharks. Is even when some of their bad teams was having a very good penalty kill. It hasn't been until the last couple seasons where you've seen it really fall off. So that's going to be something that the Sharks are going to have to be aggressive in trying to correct as this team aspires to get better, because just giving up goals on the power play, it's not a fun world to live in. So speaking of the power play, we're going to look at that and why I think it's really just one thing that the Sharks are missing to have a very solid to good power play. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Of course, playoff Jimmy, Steph Curry. Why go against that? I don't care that the Rockets are the 2 seed. I believe in playoff Jimmy, and I believe in Steph Curry. So if you also believe, that might be a smart thing to put some money on. Plus, the great thing is after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right. Before we continue, we look at the power play and its issues this season. Do of course want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe. As the off season, it's a fun time to be a Sharks fan. Of course, with $40 million in cap space, top 3 pick in this year's draft. And Macklin, Celebrini, and Will Smith on your team. The world is our oyster, so we're going to be diving in and how to get this team to kind of take that next step all summer long. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, the power play also had its issues this season, and it was, the problem is like, you feel like there was just a more talented group, right? With Celebrini and Smith and Tyler Toffoli on the ice for, most of those power play ones. You felt like it was a more talented group, and you hoped that, especially after the power play, the way the power play ended last season, right? Where with between the Lundline, Bordalo, and Kalen Addison, like that was a really solid. That power play was a weapon at the end of the 23-24 season, and you hope that with the added talent, this power play unit could take the next step, and it just did not this year. So let's look at kind of the numbers between the two. So the Sharks earned more power play opportunities this year. They went from 208, which was dead last in the NHL, 226 power plays, which was 14th. So they had 18 more power plays. They had where it's kind of middle of the pack when it came to power play opportunities, but they scored the same amount of goals, 42. Their power play in the 23-24 season was 20.2. This season was 18.6, so it dropped down by 1.6 points. And the rank went from 21st to 26th. Good thing is the shorthanded goals were the same at 8, but it just was a power play offense that shifted, right, from the previous seasons, and did kind of create more expected goals for and stuff that you would, but just didn't get the results that you would hope for. And this power play definitely centers around Macklin, Celebrini, and trying to get him the puck, where you can see, the previous season, like you would have like William Eklund kind of along that kind of half wall, or that the right circle. If you're looking at the net, the right circle. Now, like, it's Macklin, Celebrini doing it. So I do think that there is, like I'm not trying to take the puck out of Macklin Celebrini's hands. There's definitely he needs to be the focal point of the offense, but I do think the Sharks are missing that quarterback, right? Go back to last year. While the Sharks kind of ran the 5 forward unit, they would run the 5 forward unit sometimes. They had Kalen Addison, run it as well. But Mikael Granlund was kind of the guy last year who made the whole power play run, right? He would play the quarterback position out there, like he'd play on the point, like he would kind of make the whole thing run. And yes, not as like talented as a group. I think it's fair to say between Granlund and Eklund and Fabian Zetterlund, like those are very good players, but Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini, despite their age, uber talented players. Howard Toffoli scored 30 goals this year on this Sharks team. There's just more shooting talent this year. So I wonder if this could, again, having a hopefully a defenseman who can run the unit a little bit better and make sure the puck distribution's just a little bit better, where it's not, again, I'm not trying to take the puck out of Macklin Celebrini's hands. He should continue to shoot as much as he, can, but I feel like the unit just had a little bit harder time getting set up, and it was just harder work to try to get the puck to Celebrini to get those shots. So that's where I think going out, and part of Mike Greer's big to-do list that we're kind of going, right? We're checking the pantry right now and trying to figure out what the big grocery list for Mike Greer is. We're all out of right-handed puck-moving defensemen. Need some. That bin has been empty for a little bit since the Erik Karlsson trade, right? That has been a very very empty bin in that for the Sharks pantry. Getting someone who has run a power play, not just like theoretically can run a power, someone who has run a power play in the NHL, I think that solves a lot of your issues because one, better puck distribution, getting the puck moving, easier to get it set up. Two, you're, especially as a defenseman, the forwards aren't always having kind of in the back of the mind, like I have to help cover for defense a little bit, especially when you run the 5 forward unit. Having the defenseman who's going to have that just mindset to begin with, I think helps to kind of let everyone do their job a little bit better. So I still I still think there's a lot of talent, and I think the Sharks should have enough pieces to be able to put out 2 competent forward groups. And again, depending on especially what they do this offseason, we're trying to add some more forward talent. But between Celebrini and Smith and Toffoli and Eklund, Colin Graff, Wenberg, we're at 6 right now. If the Sharks go out and get, another kind of middle 6 forward, there's I think there's still going to be enough pieces for the Sharks to be able to put out 2 competent forward groups. It's the back end that worries me, and whether it's whatever player, if they go out and get, the right-handed defenseman X, and then maybe a guy like Muka Madulin or Liljegren can kind of run the second unit, then you can maybe start to kind of piece this together a little bit. And then of course Celebrini and Smith in their second years, right? But I think the missing piece right now is just a defenseman who can just set things up and help kind of make that transition a little bit smoother for the Sharks, and not so much where it's just funnel everything to Celebrini, but just kind of keep the rest of the defense honest and make sure everyone you just need that point guard kind of player on the back end who like just helps to make things go, and also provides a little bit of a threat. So I think that's a big key right there. They got to provide a threat to shoot every once in a while, but can just kind of help distribute and get the puck moving in the right direction. So we're going to talk about goaltending next, which I think was the biggest issue for the Sharks this season, and why I think it's actually the most fixable, because you got your answer in house. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I'm an in-shell variety person, but if you like the no shells, no, I'm not going to shell shame you. They're either way, they're perfect grab and go snack for busy days. If you're, like me, at like 2:30 snacky time at work, you have a bag in your desk or throw it in your bag for when you're on the go. No matter what, they've got you covered. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, guys, before we get into the goaltending, of course, I want to thank you guys for making Locked on Sharks your first listen. When you're done with this episode, make sure you guys go check out the Locked on NHL Game Time. Every game, every night, until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay, the goaltending. And if you're into stealth tanking, I love me a stealth tank. You can, Mike Greer pulled off a beautiful stealth tank. And I don't want to turn this into like the Sharks. Should the Sharks have traded Mackenzie Blackwood or not? Like that's not what I'm trying to do here, because we've gone through that a bunch. And for the Sharks, it didn't make sense to keep Mackenzie Blackwood long term, especially at the contract that he signed with the Avs. Like, you're basically then just turn yourselves. You went out and traded for Askarov last offseason, right? Askarov is going to be, the hope is Askarov is your long-term guy. Signing Mackenzie Blackwood to a 5-year deal, I forget whatever he got paid. It was a lot of money for a long time. Just didn't make sense for the Sharks. So should the Sharks have kept him longer? Maybe you got a better deal. Maybe you wouldn't have gotten a better deal. Who knows? But they traded Mackenzie Blackwood. So let's look at how the numbers stack up from the 2023-2024 season to last year. So the save percentage in 23-24, that was with mostly Vitek Vanacek. Capo Caco, Mackenzie Blackwood. I know at the end they got a little dicey with like Devin Cooley in there and such, but still. 892 save percentage, 376 goals against. Goals saved above expected was minus 2.84. That's all the goalies combined. And goals saved above average was minus 27.08. So that's basically, if you had average goaltending, here's what they would be. This season, 887 save percentage. Goals against was, I forget to put goals against was like 350. I got it right here. 358. Sorry. Goals saved above expected, minus 5.42. And then 29.81 minus goals saved above average. So the problem with it is you had Mackenzie Blackwood, who was outstanding, right? And looking at I have all the goalie stats right here. He had a 909 save percentage during his time, playing out of his mind. 3 goals against average per game. Played almost 1,100 minutes for the Sharks. Started 19 games. Started 17 games, played 19. Askarov, solid, 896 save percentage. Started 12 games, played in 13. I know the end he was kind of dealing with some sickness / injuries of his NHL time. But then you look at Vitek Vanacek, 882. Started 17 games, played in 18. Georgi Romanov, poor Romanov getting thrown out there, right? Started 6 games, played in 8. Alexander Gorgiev started 30 games, played in 31. 875 save percentage. So if you are love yourself a stealth tank, right? Best way to tank terrible goaltending. Sharks got terrible goaltending the second half of the season, especially after Askarov got hurt. Between Romanov, who again probably should have been playing in the AHL this year, but like the entire season in AHL, it is what it is, right? Especially with Askarov getting hurt. Alexander Gorgiev just looks like he just doesn't have much tread left on the tires after being run into the ground by the Colorado Avalanche. And Mike Greer, very quickly to say thank you for your services. Good luck out there after the season was over. So Sharks just got bad goaltending all season, which goes back to the penalty kill not being good enough, right? We talked about yesterday, the defense made strides. They less shot attempts, less shots on goal, less high danger chances, less like the defense made strides, small strides, but they still made strides this year to get better. Goaltending, biggest issue, and the most fixable because you have an answer in-house, an Askarov, who 896, again, not the prettiest at 896. Also played in front of a terrible defense. Made strides, but still a bad defense. But Askarov played well in that time, those times, right? They have on natural stat or not on Hockey Reference, they have what they call quality starts. So these are basically starts where your save percentage was higher than kind of the league average. Askarov made 12 starts. Of those 12 starts, 7 were quality starts. Okay. Mackenzie Blackwood made 17 starts. 10 were quality starts. Gorgiev made 30 starts. 11 were quality starts. If you're getting goaltending that, again, just get me league average goaltending next year. And whoever you go out and get, right? Just go get me league average goaltending. Like it doesn't need to, I don't need right now. I'm not asking Askarov to go be a top 10 goaltender next year. In the future, 100%. Askarov should be, hopefully, that's the hope, right? Askarov is a top 10, pushing top 5 goaltender. That's like realistic expectations for Askarov in the next couple seasons, right? Next year, I just want league average, man. If you're in the mid-teens, if you're like 18 to like 13, somewhere in that range when it comes to like save percentage and goal save expected, like kind of all the basic metrics, this Sharks team is just going to win a bunch more games because of the goaltending, right? How many of those one-loss games become, those one-goal losses become one-goal wins because you just have league average goaltending. You're not giving up bad goals as much. It's probably a lot. So I think that, as weird as it sounds, this is your biggest problem. I think it's also, like I said, I think it's your most fixable because you have an in-house solution, like a legitimate in-house solution. Like you're not trying to project, how does Askarov look? Can he make the jump? Like Askarov's done everything he needs to do in the AHL other than a long playoff run, right? And now just stay healthy. He's shown enough, I think, in the NHL to be like, you can pencil him in to be at least sharing the role to start the season. And the hope is he continues to grow into his role. So if you find a solid backup, and I'd be willing to spend, especially with Askarov on a cheap deal at $2 million, like I wouldn't mind spending a little bit more on a quality goaltender. That way, you just feel confident every night when you go out there and you're not like, I hope we get, I hope we don't get Forviev tonight. I hope we don't, I hope they don't, the goaltending isn't an issue like it was a couple of seasons ago. You get the goaltending feeling good. Like we've talked about it a bajillion times, especially with Martin Jones. You if your goaltending is good, like if you feel confident, it's just everybody in front of you is going to play better and play looser, and you're not going to have to worry about it. And I think that is having Askarov and whatever goaltender is going to give the Sharks a huge boost next season. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.